Okay, so thank you so much, Sibusiso, for taking the time to come onto my show. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So the first question that I have for you is, could you please explain to the audience who you are and what is your story?
My name is Sibusiso Zulu. Grew up in the east of Johannesburg, in a place called Troyville. It's being rebranded now to Makers Valley because of the beautiful things that are happening. But I'm sure I'll talk about that later. And then I like to think of myself as an active ambassador for social and creative change, using art and creativity just to bring opportunities to young people, and also bring in new solutions to my community, to the world, to the continent as well as the world. Growing up, it's been like a really weird journey. Because when I was in school, I thought I would be an accountant or study law or something. I just wanted something that would give me stability and money.
Of course.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like everyone else, after matric, I really didn't have finances to continue or to pursue that dream. I remember, so I'm close to Maboneng, the precinct, Maboneng, creative precinct. So I remember that year, just after matric, I used to go there every day. Like, I wake up as if I'm going to work, guys, and go there and just be around, because I enjoyed being around creatives. I'll meet people who are super talented and how much they believe in themselves. I mean, like, it just inspired me. And then from there, I got this idea, obviously being in that space, around creative people, you have to express yourself so you can try out these things, and somehow I believed, and this is true for many people. I had find out that the lack of footwear was working against that, like my confidence and esteem. I never really wanted to be. I wanted to be in those spaces, but whenever I got any chance to express myself, I wasn't, because the lack of footwear. So I decided to do an event around sneakers, and the entry was you donating a pair of sneakers, and this idea was to solve my own problem. But after that day, I received 32 pairs of sneakers, and I was really excited. I got a couple for myself, and then I took the rest to Twilight Children's Home in Hillbrow, because I had a friend there. And I also know that when you stay in a orphanage home, or the people who take care of the home, they're more concerned about you eating, school uniform, and so forth. Sneakers and everything else comes after. So
it's like a luxury.
Yeah. So when I took it there, it was an amazing experience. How people appreciated it, and from that day, I just realized, hey, I want to do this. I want to collect sneakers and donate them to people who need them. And to date, I've collected over 10,000 pairs of sneakers, and I've really explored and worked with them, because when you get them, some they're dirty, some they're worn out. So I would repair, clean, customize, just to give them a new life. And through just the sneaker culture as a whole, I really explored the creative industry. I guess that day just led me to where I am, because everything has been sort of from that day. I've done art exhibitions where we upcycle sneakers, and I've learned about sustainability, and it gave birth to Swyft Lab. Yeah. So that's
wow.
I think that's my story.
That's truly incredible. It's so interesting how the impact of something that most people would kind of take for granted, something like sneakers, had I'm guessing sort of like on your identity and your confidence in entering those kind of spaces. So I'm assuming that's Sneakers for Change is what you're speaking about.
Yes, it is Sneakers for Change, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So could you tell me a bit more about Swyft Lab? Sort of what is that? How did that come about? And yeah, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so after years of working in Sneakers for Change, I also realized that it's not financially sustainable. Like, it's very nice, it's very cool. I love doing it, but it wasn't paying my bills. And I wanted to continue doing it. And so I've been thinking of my biggest learning over the years was how can I make this beautiful thing also to be financially sustainable. And I've been working on ideas and exploring ideas. And I was fortunate to be part of Youth Global Innovators, and I met this amazing lady by the name of Chantel. She ran a sustainable fashion brand. So we started connecting because there was a lot of similarities in what I was doing. And I started learning a lot about fashion waste and sustainable fashion and what it's doing in the world as well. And I also realized that most of sustainability or of any sort, it's something that we are living already. It's what we practice on a daily, especially as the Black community, And talking about fashion sustainability as the urban creative youth in Joburg, we kind of live by it. But learning about it was eye-opening. And then we co-founded Swyft Lab. And Swyft Lab basically, a part of it is a lot of the things that I was already doing in Sneakers for Change. Some elements are there, and some elements are looking at fighting against fashion waste. So Swyft Lab is a swap, thrift, and upcycle fashion brand that promotes sustainability and homegrown creativity using art, design, and craft. And basically what we're doing is prolong the lifespan of clothing items and redirecting fashion waste from the landfills into the wardrobes of young people. So we customize clothing items, we do patchwork, basically just give what you have a new life. But what's really dope about Swyft Lab is that we have this awesome swap system, right? Where you bring your old clothes and you get points for them. And you can use those points to buy from our rework product line. So beginning of this year, we've been hosting workshops and hosting the swap system, and how people have been reacting to it has been amazing. It's really interesting how everything that you don't like and you haven't been wearing for a year or two, someone could be excited and crazy about. And just creating that whole system. And also it gives an opportunity for local artists to generate income. As you know, as a visual artist, it's very hard to break into the industry or to have a sustainable income. So Swyft Lab gives them that opportunity through working with us in artist collaboration. We create a unique capsule collection collaborating with local artists, and they also get to work on the sneaker customizations and clothing customizations that we do also. Yeah,
no, that really sounds incredible. I think being able to give local artists an opportunity to revamp things, also taking into consideration sort of fashion waste and upcycling, just all of these different things combining and creating such a positive and like new products for people to enjoy. I think it's all really cool.
Thank you so much.
Where do you guys sell your stuff? Is it just online, or do you have like in-person stores?
So unfortunately we don't have a physical space yet, but we're looking forward to that, opening our first store. But we are based at Victoria Yards in Makers Valley, where people can come drop off their stuff for professional cleaning, customization, or anything of that sort for our services. And then for the swap system, we have it every month at the same space in Makers Valley. Whenever we do it, the swap system, we always have workshops, also teaching people on how you can do it yourself and how you can do it at home and how you can customize. And it's a lot of fun too. How you can customize your own clothing items, how you can patch it, how you can put back that button once it's gone, because people sometimes they just stop wearing an item just because there's no button anymore. So we have like interesting workshops whenever we do that. And we're hoping in the very near future we can have a physical store where people can just walk in and take stuff from the reel. So that's what we've been working towards now. No, that's really cool. And I saw on the Swyft Lab's website, you guys you speak about a concept called the cyclical economy. Could you sort of explain more what that is and why it's important and how it relates to sustainability? So before I even get to that, for us as Swyft Labs, sustainability means a lot of things, but these are the core things, core three things. Number one is obviously using what we have. I feel like there's already enough clothing items in the world. Like for example, there's the fast fashion industry produces 52 new collections annually. That's almost a new collection every week. And 90% of that collection ends up in landfills. So there's already enough clothing items. But there's enough for us to go for a long time. And people don't wear clothes for a number of reasons. Maybe, you're changing the way you look. Maybe now you have a professional job, like a corporate job, and you want a more professional job, or you've gained some weight, or whatever it is. But the quality of your clothing item still remains the same. And then also number two is how these clothes are manufactured, right? In most cases, companies like Shein and all those big retail companies have gone under a lot of scrutiny because of their labor practices. And it's horrifying. So, and number three, also if we stay away and shy away from fast fashion, we'll get an opportunity to support our local economy, support our local brands, support brands that we know how the product was manufactured, how it was produced, under which conditions, who produced the actual garment, And once we do all those three, it doesn't only save the environment, but it also creates an opportunity for local people, for local artists, for local economy to also strive. But also there's another opportunity here, especially when it comes to the swap system. And it's something that, as well as here in Makers Valley, that we trying to look at or we prototyping, which is creating a different currency. I mean, money doesn't have to be the only currency. Before that, we traded and used other forms of as currency. And we feel like money takes away so much from people. Like Africa as a whole, my community is a low income area. And using money as the only form of trading or getting things puts people in at the back end of everything. So there's amazing other organizations who are exploring that option, where there's another example which I can share with you. So during COVID, right, I'm going to cut it short because I talk too much.
No problem.
So during COVID, here at Makers Valley or in the area around Vikia, we started a soup kitchen, right? First week had 60 people, second week more than 600 people. But I also realized that giving someone a plate of food is not sustainable, because they go home, they eat it, and then no plan for the next day, or just a couple of hours after. So amazing people. There's this organization called Love Our City Clean. It's a waste management company by young people and some other people who came together. People's Pantry by Sandra and them, who came up with this concept that people can bring in recyclables and get points for them and use those points to buy dry ingredients like your rice, and they can cook and stretch it as much as possible. So we can imagine a place where people are sustainable, and through that act of thinking about ways of cleaning the environment and taking care of environment, can also get an opportunity to participate in the economy, to have things that they need, whether it's buying clothes at Swyft Lab or food at the People's Pantry, and all sorts of those things. And it becomes a cycle where everyone benefits, but not only us as human beings, but also the environment. Because if you take care of the environment, you benefit in the long run. So it's all about putting people and the planet first. And when we do, and when we do, everything goes back to what it should be. It's just a perfect circular thing that takes care of everyone and the environment. I don't know if I sort of explained that.
Yes. Yeah, no. It definitely makes sense. And it's so interesting to hear how that concept of the cyclical economy can be applied in so many ways. How it can be applied with fashion, with Swyft Labs, and with the food source kind of thing. I think, it's a really interesting and new way of looking at the economy, especially as we look for new, more sustainable ways to go forward. I think it's really cool, and I think it's cool to especially see like young people being at the forefront of that.
Yeah. Definitely, there's definitely a new way on how we should do business, like, and how business should be done, and how business is done now is just taking how we can maximize profits, and in between that, we don't care about the people or the labor or how that product is gonna affect the people in the long run. We also don't care how it's affecting the environment. But I think now it's time where big businesses, especially big businesses and governments and everyone else in the world, should rethink how business is done and put in policies and new ways of doing business. And young people are doing that, are influencing a way of doing business. And that's what we're trying to do. I think in the next 5 years, Swyft Lab is going to bring in an affordable alternative to fast fashion. People won't be going to Mr. Price and Zara anymore.
I think that would be, that's great, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that and going to your guys' shop instead of going to Cotton On.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure. And I just wanted to shift a little bit to speaking about education. You know, I think creativity and art are really important parts of your life, and I've seen that you've spoken a little bit about how creativity or creative education is really something that's missing in the syllabus at school. You know, there's kind of just a focus on academic stuff and maybe a little bit of sports, but the creative element is still kind of lacking. So I wanted to ask, what does good creative education look like to you, and how can young people sort of take that initiative to creatively educate themselves, I guess?
Yeah. Just to put it in context, like public schools most of the majority don't offer any creative subjects, and arts and culture is not a creative subject. It's just like
yes, yeah.
So don't offer any creative subjects or creative extracurricular activities. And I went to such a school where like, yeah, even sports was just like, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate because we had so much talent. I grew up in the area where okhona amabhujwa and rappers and stuff, so we'd go to Gandhi Square and there'd be like battles, but all that thing, it wasn't taught from school. It wasn't there was no support in making it into a career or something.
Yeah.
And also you gotta recognize not everyone is an academic who would go to varsity and and also another thing that's very important is that which kinds of sort of balances it out, but it doesn't, is that as a creative person, if you have a talent, maybe you don't really need to go to a school. It's better if you taught it. The journey is a lot easier, but you don't. You can just use your passion, just be passionate about it, work very hard at it, and your talent is gonna get you there. But it's very important for to have that creative education happen in schools, happen in tertiary, happen even out in other institutions outside of schools. I'm very much exposed in the visual arts industry, and I believe it's one of the hardest industries to break through. There's a lot of things I don't understand to this day. Uti, why would one person sell this small artwork, which I think it's terrible, doesn't have a story, for 50,000 rand or $50,000, and this person who's extremely talented, telling a beautiful story, can't even get it to sell for $500. It's a very weird market. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things that goes into it, and school helps you understand the market, helps you move differently, helps you get into the industry easier, and especially South Africa, or my local area, is full of creative people, but they don't know where to go. They don't know where to take their talents. It's very frustrating, because you find a super creative person, super talented person ending up in a retail dead-end job, when there's so much potential, there's so much that could have been done with this beautiful talent that they have. So, but I still believe that because I'm a believer in being an active citizen and doing things ourselves and not waiting for the government. So I do believe that people who are in the industry, people who have walked the path, can create opportunities or spaces where people can learn these skills. And also, once we do that, it's going to become a lot easier for a person to take a creative journey and say, hey, I want to be a fashion designer. And our parents would also believe in us and also support those ideas. Because I remember having that conversation with my parents. They're like, go get a job. So it's just it's very important. I believe it's very important. And also, art is a powerful tool for activism. It's a powerful tool for changing things that we're not comfortable with, for sharing stories, and so much more can be done. It's just a huge industry that can help fight against the high levels of unemployment in SA, can just tell our stories and help us so much.
I think that's incredible. I think the idea that there's so much raw talent within the South African space and within Africa. There's so many young people that have that talent for different types of art, but because there isn't really any sort of structure or channel that most people can actually have access to realize their talents or to nurture their talents or to have them exposed to places where people can actually help them with their careers and be able to earn a living from them. I think that's a really, really important thing for us to think about. And I mean, even like you spoke earlier about how you were doing something so good with Sneakers for Change, and you know how it had that element of like donating and art and stuff, and yet there wasn't really financial benefit. So we could end up losing so many opportunities like that simply because the financial thing isn't there. So yeah, I think that's a really, really important challenge for us as young people and as leadership to deal with.
Yeah, and yeah, it is an important challenge. But also, I like just looking at things in a positive way. I think with how the world is moving and social media and stuff, it's not easy. But 10 years ago compared to now, we just a tiny bit better, you know. And I feel like our talent in Africa, or our talent as Black people, is unmatched. And this is because of the stories we're telling, our experiences, and yeah, I think we just support the people we see around us who are amazing, who have amazing talent. Support them and expose them to such platforms, you know, like the platform you're creating now. Just expose them, take them to the world, because we never know who's watching. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, just before we wrap up and I get to my final question, I just wanted to ask, you know, for anyone who is listening, for anyone who could be that person that is watching, where can people find you and the work that you're doing and stuff, so that if there's people who are interested in what you're doing in order to like swap or donate or buy stuff or support your businesses and stuff, where can people find you? I'm on social media. So you can find Swyft Lab at www.swiftlab.co.za, at Swyft.lab on Instagram and Facebook. And me personally, they can find me at S4C Zulu on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I also want to interest people in learning about fashion waste or fast fashion or sustainable fashion. So on my bio on Instagram. On my bio on Instagram, I recently did a TED Talk. It's there about fashion waste. I think it's a thing that everyone should be aware of. Obviously, Shein is cool and all that for other people, but just be aware of what's happening, and that TED Talk would give you just an overview. It would just help you understand what we're talking about, because it's still a foreign concept for most people. But at the same time, like I like to say that sustainability is our thing. We've been doing it for a long time. It's just been our practice. It's just that it went to Europe and came back in this fancy word. And we've just been sustainble. All our practices, how we keep plastic bags in that drawer.
That's what I was thinking.
How all my clothes were passed down from our older siblings growing up, and this is for everyone else. How we recycle that Rama container to use it as kaftin. All those things are just ways that we've been living, you know, and doing it. But here's a catch. This is how we've been living, and we wanted to stop doing this. We think that stopping this thing is a better life, and it's not. So it's just us being aware and being conscious that sustainability is our way, and continue doing it, knowing so that this concept doesn't come back and they're selling it to us like, it's how we've been living. But I think it's very important for people to learn about it, conscientize themselves about about all this, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in food, whether in whatever environment, just as a whole, sustainability and climate change, and how we can do things to continue having an impact, positive impact on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's so important to actually reflect on how sustainability is actually not something that's new to us, and it's important to think about that and to actually continue to apply those things.
True.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, if you knew that every young African was listening to this podcast episode right now, what would you want to say to them?
I was just like want people, especially young people, to recognize their power. I mean, as young Black Africans, we have so much power within us, so much creativity, and so much that we can and will contribute to not only our continent but our world as a whole. But it all starts with ourselves and our community. I'd like to encourage young people to look within themselves and find the thing they're passionate about, find that talent they have, and use it not only to impact their families but their community. And if we all do that, and always think about, how can I use this power, how can I use this gift to impact my community, my family, my community. And if we all can do that, Africa will take its rightful place quickly than they think. Yeah,
that's perfect. And thank you so much again, Sibusiso, for coming on and for sharing your insights and your experiences. I'll be linking all of your socials and the TED Talk and everything in the show notes, so people can go there to check it out. And thank you again. It's been incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I really hope that you enjoyed it and that it brought you tremendous value. If it did, please leave a rating for the podcast on whatever platform you use. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow us on social media at For The Future ZA. I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast episode. Thank you so much, and have a good one.